Oh man. Oh, so this was like 10 years ago, and I thought this was the end of me. So I'm on 220, getting ready to get off the Lock Haven exit Castaneda there, and there's this guy in an old beat up kind of truck, okay, and it was snowy, you know, he's walking in. I can tell he had just left his truck area, right? You know, so it was obviously him, and I pulled down to the Camaro, and I was like, hey, you need a ride? He's like, yeah, he's, you know, grungy looking guy. You know, I mean, I don't want to stereotype or anything like that, but I was like, I'm gonna give you a ride, you know. And so he gets in the Camaro, and he just wanted to take it off the Castaneda exit and then dropped off at like a garage. I don't know if he worked there, you know, or if he was going there because he knew somebody, you know, with the car, whatever. But he goes, and he goes there, and or as I'm driving, getting off the exit, I look over. He pulls out a monkey wrench, okay? And I thought, oh, this is it. This is where I go down. I'm already planning my defense, okay? So he swings. I'm blocking with this arm, and I'm punching with this. You know, like, I'm not sure exactly what that's gonna do, but you know, while I'm driving, right? So I'm ready. He pulls this thing out and he goes, you want to buy this? I was like, holy crap, you just scared the crap out of me. I think he was just looking for 20 bucks. You know, he was like, you want to buy it? I was like, after my heart started beating again. I said, no, I don't really have any need for it. Oh my goodness. I thought for sure. This is where I go down.
What if he hit you after you said no?
I know. I was like, oh, I don't have $20 on me. Well, unfortunately, without my lesson plan, I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. I think this is what I wanted to do. No, we're gonna make sure we get field stuff taken care of first. So we will, and then whatever time we have left, if any. I mean, this is fortunately or unfortunately a week earlier than we normally go out. Which means, we haven't gotten over as much as I like to, but that's okay. Yeah, so whatever, it is what it is. So I emailed your cooperating teachers yesterday, telling them to expect an email from you sometime after class today. You know, today, tomorrow, no later than tomorrow, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the email, very short email, 3 sentences, you know, whatever.
Why is it Ms.?
For you, but wait, what's that?
Why are they Ms.?
Well, I put somebody down as Ms. even though, like, I'm positive both of these are married, at least have been married, but I don't want to offend anybody. Like maybe you just got divorced and I don't know. Unless I've had personal experience with them talking to me about their husband, I just call them Ms. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of my policy. So I would probably call them Ms. unless if they start talking about husband and say Mrs. And many teachers will have their students, and you can get this. You can do this as well and figure out your MO. Many teachers female teachers will have their students always call them Ms. no matter what. If they're a Miss, because they don't want them knowing, especially when you're younger, you might not want them knowing that you are single. I mean, they may guess by ring, but not everybody wears your ring. I'm gonna take mine off out of convenience. Just kidding. But anyway, come on in. All yours. It's all yours. Do something with it. No. Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird message. I should have taken a snapshot of it. So yeah, I would say if you write your name on the board for somebody, it's probably better call them Ms. than Miss. But anyway, so Maddie Collin, Williamsport High School. Give you the address. Talk a little more about that. Your person, and as far as I know, what they get and what they teach, and then arrival time. Now, when you email them, I will say this is the start time of their school. Actually, they will probably want you there earlier, all right? Because they start at 7. Well, actually, I think their teachers report report time is 7:30. Now, if I had a school day start at 7:40, I would never arrive at 7:30. My butt would be there by 7 o'clock easily, just because I'm not that type of person that, you know, can go in and just go. I mean, I was here this morning at whatever, 6:45, you know, like that, and on class till 9:30. That's just how I operate. I couldn't do it. But in your email, you will tell them that, you know, Steve told you to, and they all know me by Steve, so if you say Steve, they'll know who you're talking about. Steve told me to arrive at 7:30. Is that time good for you? You'll be there earlier and be willing to go earlier, right? You know, earlier or later, question mark.
What time are we done there?
Well, and yeah, well, I'll address that in here, but this is just your placements here. Okay, next page. And I'll go over this fairly carefully for you, just make sure you are clear on what you're doing when you go out into the field. I don't want, and I suggest that you go over these again, just to make sure you're clear. You got 5 days, you don't have any other homework, you know, in here for 5 days. Prepare yourself. Your homework actually on my lesson plan, if we can get it up, is prepare yourself for the field. Okay, it doesn't mean, oh, I got 5 days off, I don't have to read anything for MATH200. No, you do. Well, yeah, that's not for this big class. Anyway, and you should already be working on it, right? 227, 3 months. So basically the next 6 class meetings. Now here's what I will say about this. If you want some more cohesiveness, and you're really the only one that this probably would work for, I'm assuming you're going home for spring break in New York. So if you want for a little bit more cohesiveness, if you need to tell me anything, just let's make sure that there's food count before I. If you, now where was I? Because he interrupted me. No, I'm just kidding. If you want a little bit more cohesiveness, you can go the 2 days during spring break. Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, thank you. You can go during the spring break if you want. You know, in the past, there have been times where just because people weren't doing anything during spring break, they're like, hey, can I actually go all 5 days during spring break for the whole, you know, for the whole time period? Because that's a great cohesive experience. And then you don't go at all. Then you're kind of free on the mornings of, you know, Tuesday, Thursday, and that's fine as long as your cooperating teacher, you know, is fine with it. But that ruins your spring break. Just keep that in mind. So, but I mean, some people have in the past, very few and far between. But if you want to go 27-1, 6-8, and then 13-15, that would be right. 13-15, that's fine, and it does only take two times of it. But you come back from spring break and you go the next 2 days. Now that does mean that see, you've isolated yourself from that one. But you 4 will miss history of math 2. I mean, I'm okay with that. Obviously, you're almost half the classes. There's only 10 in there, so there'll only be 6 of the other ones. Now, I'll be recording, and for those days, I mean, most of the time, we're actually going to be starting into like the next time period. So we'll be doing the typical things. We'll be doing the PowerPoints on the time period. That'll take up a couple days. You'll do another mathematician kind of activity, you know, to kind of match. So you'll miss that, but you can study it on your own and watch it. And then you'll be, what else have I planned there? I mean, probably a quiz in there at some point. But you'll do that, and then I'll have my next set of problems and things. But it's not anything that you will be, you know, missing a lot of by not being in the class. I mean, you'll miss the interaction with other people as far as talking about the time periods and the little cahoots, you know, that will be reviewing the information. So you'll miss that, which will hurt your understanding because you have to do it all on your own. But it worked out fine last year when the people, you know, missed. So I don't have, because it's not a problem class where we really have to be there for me to help you out, you know, with the problems. But it does mean that you will have to spend your time, you know, outside doing watching the videos. I mean, you can just put your earphones in and, you know, listen as you're driving back and forth. Not like you have to watch, you know, a whole lot. But anyway, it worked fine last year, and it seems to be, you know, the best. You know, I like that better because the alternative, because of where MATH200 is, because of Dr. Simmons' schedule, we would have to be meeting at like the 3:25 time slot, and I'm not a big fan of that late afternoon. I don't think most students are, you know, a fan of that. So. But anyway, okay, for block 1, your main requirement is to actively observe. So when I say actively observe, it is not just general observation. It is being active, which means you're looking at specific things. Now that doesn't mean for 5 hours a day you're staring and looking at a specific thing. Certainly for some, you're just observing and you're helping. But it's active observing, helping out as needed, and really learn as much about the teaching learning process as possible. You're going to be given a structured observation portfolio, which we'll look at. So look over these the next few days. If you have to, get directions, GPS it, whatever, get directions. If you really need to, go look up the school this weekend. None of them are difficult to get to. I mean, Jersey Shore, the middle school is easy to get to. The high school is kind of around in back, but the middle school is right there on the main road. I would suggest for the middle school, park across the street from it. I mean, there's limited visitor parking lot right in front of the school.
There's like a stone parking lot.
But I would park, I would park in the stone parking lot. Williamsport is, easy to get to. You go to the middle school and you just go up the hill. But that place is chaotic in the morning. Okay, follow the people out there, okay, directing you, and they have cones set up. And whenever I have to be there first period, I get there early. Okay, I get there early. I make sure I'm there 15 minutes before, I think, because there's usually a line of parents dropping kids off where they're not supposed to be stopping to drop kids off, and sometimes it's a little hard to find a parking spot. When you go in, don't go to the right, that's for faculty, and then you go to the left there, visitors. But anyway, Central Mountain's easy to get to. Again, the string of traffic can be heavy in the morning, and then I'd say there's limited visitor parking spot up on the side where you go in now. However, in the morning, I've never had an issue. In the morning is usually a lot. If I go at 10 o'clock in the morning or something, then it's a little bit crazy, or not able to find a good parking spot. But don't be late, so figure out your time, and remember you're going to be competing with bus traffic, so whatever it takes you to get there, this weekend, and I don't necessarily think any of you really need to go this weekend, to find it, but if you do, and you think about time, add another 15 minutes. So you can contact your cooperating teacher by email. Don't do this until after, but they've already received my email, so you can do that. In the initial contact, though, just introduce yourself, and you only send one for everybody that's going in pairs. Just sit down from one person's account and CC the other one, and that way they can reply all, or you can forward any response. But in the initial contact, just introduce yourself, tell them who you are, let them know that you'll be there at the time above on Tuesday. Ask them if the time's okay. Say that Steve told us to be there at 7:30. Is that time okay? Tell them you look forward to meeting them. Ask them if they want you to come directly to their room, or if they would rather meet me in the hallway. Williamsport, I kind of hope that they meet you in the front office or something, just because those pods, I get lost every time.
Do we have to sign in and all?
Yeah, none of those schools will let you through without signing in anyway. So you'll go in, you'll sign in, and that. But ask them where they want you to meet. Maybe the office personnel will tell you. But if the office in Jersey Shore says C103, you're gonna walk around and be like, okay, C. You just have to find the C pod, and then you can go up there. But if it's 2, I'm not sure if she might be on the second floor.
She's upstairs.
On the second floor, and to get up there, I don't know. Half the time I go on this one set of steps that doesn't get me to the right spot.
Walk straight ahead from the office and go upstairs.
You already know?
Huh?
You already know where she is?
Yeah.
No.
If she's at the same spot.
Oh, well, how do you know where she is? You been there before?
This is Tornado?
Oh, no, I'm talking about Williamsport.
Oh, you said Jersey Shore.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking about Williamsport is hard to get to because of the pods. Yeah, Tornado, middle school, Jersey Shore Middle School is fine.
Yeah.
You have to get to it. That's a normally laid out school. Just all. Well, if you've been there, just do right. But when you go there 4 times a year, I get lost.
Usually, the teachers send a student down to pick up their.
Yeah, and in the morning it might depend on who's there,
Yeah.
and then because hopefully you'll be getting there student time or teacher time, not student time. But again, make the email short and to the point. I'm talking this long, all right? Grammatically correct if you're worried, not this long. If you're worried about being grammatically correct, send it to me and ask me if this is okay, and I will approve it. But punctuation, capital letters, okay, that kind of stuff. A nice, you don't have to say dear, but hi, Mrs. Everhart, or whatever, okay? Again, make sure you note the time, don't be late. I think I already said that. Check into the main office, ask them to direct you to the cooperating teacher, whatever. Make sure you get a visitor's pass. I mean, you can have yours on a little tag or whatever, and that would help. Sometimes they don't make you have a visitor's pass if you have that, but some will do it as well. And make sure you turn that back in, after. But make sure you have yours. Look and act part of teacher. We'll talk a little bit about dress a little bit later in the packet here. But look and act part of teacher. Look professional. Show initiative and enthusiasm. Keep personal comments to yourself. People, unfortunately or unfortunately, both student, teachers, and faculty out in the schools talk to me, and part of it I know is my personality because most people find it fairly easy to talk to me, even though I wish nobody would. But people talk to me about like policies that they hate and stuff. I try not to be judgmental, other than the fact that, well, that seems to me like a stupid policy, but I'm not privy to what's happened in the past. I don't know, okay? But try to keep judgments, especially having limited experience in there. At this point, yeah, I've been in the same schools for 14 years. However, I'm still not there every day. I don't know, all the stuff and the reasons. But anyway, show respect to our administration, staff, teachers, students. Say hi. Maintain a professional distance between you and all others in the school environment. That doesn't mean coming off as evasive, but what I mean is don't be too friendly. Don't be disruptive and talkative with your peers, especially if you're assigned two people during class time. You're there to actively observe. While you should reflect and make comments on the classes, this should be done on your own time. You're not there to criticize the teacher, class, students, administration, school, etc. You're there to learn and save your judgments until you've had more experience for that. So, you're a guest in the school, remember that. Your attitude and conduct reflect directly on Log Haven, secondary math program, and you, so don't be one of the reasons why those entities get a bad reputation. Later on here, there's the evaluation form. I suggest reading through it so you know what you're going to be evaluated on. It's always nice to know what you're going to be evaluated on. And some of the areas don't apply to every placement. So if you have class that begins at 2:10, your cooperating teachers know that. They've been told that from me. You leave at an appropriate time to return to campus. Now, when I say appropriate time, let's say you have to leave at 1:30 to get back to campus. And probably, Williamsport, you guys probably got to leave at like 1:15, I would think, to get back here. 1:15, yeah. You can probably 1:30 from Jersey Shore. But when I say 1:15, that doesn't necessarily mean get up at 1:15 and leave. Okay, you should probably ought to be driving out of the parking lot by 1:15, first of all. But again, even if that means leaving class at 1 o'clock, that doesn't mean 1 o'clock, I just get up and leave. Play with the time and see if class starts, if class starts at 12:50 and you have to leave at 1 o'clock, get out at 12:50. You know what I'm saying? Don't disrupt class. To get out, talk about it with your cooperating teacher. If your cooperating teacher says, oh, we're going to be doing this, and then you can probably just sneak out then and it's a little bit early or whatever, that's fine. Just don't leave. And again, if class is going to end at 12:50 and you have to leave if class is going to end at 1:05 and you think you ought to leave at 1, play around with that and say, okay, 1 o'clock, they might be doing homework. That's a good time to sneak out. Okay, can I wait till 1:05? Yeah, probably. You can probably wait till 1:05 instead of missing the entire period. But you and your cooperating teacher can work that out. It's not and I know on paper we say you have to have so many hours. I don't give a rat's behind about the hours. Okay, 6 times 6 hours a day is 36. Okay, but if you're there at 7:30 instead of 8, 8 to 2 is 6 hours, right? You're there at 7:30. I'm not worried. 32 hours. 38 hours, I don't care about that. It's the experience that's important. Get enough sleep night before. You don't want to fall asleep during class. Nothing's worse than that. Well, there probably are things that are worse than that. Well, I've actually fallen asleep in class before. I mean while I was teaching. I fell asleep one time while my students were taking a test. I climbed up on it was on a ledge. It was like, I know, second or third year teaching. And I laid down, and all of a sudden I was like, oh man, I just fell asleep. And I don't know what time it was or how late. But the weird thing is everybody got A's on that test. No. Anyway.
Hey Steve,
Yeah.
so if like me and John go to Jersey Shore,
Right.
and he has to leave early, do I stay to the end of the
Yeah, if you don't have to. Well, if you're riding, but chances are you guys, I thought about that, but chances are you won't be riding together.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be coming in.
So I just stay.
So just stay,
Okay.
yeah. You should be able to stay until the 2 o'clock. Because are you back here at all for a class? Do you have a 2?
No.
Yeah, so you're just going home after anyway, right?
Yeah, when work.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, you should be able to stay for that time period.
Okay.
All right, make sure you take your original and a copy of your clearances with you to your replacement. So take your original, but don't give your original to them. All right, take your original because some places might need to see originals, but take a copy, one copy, take a copy because some schools might want to keep a copy. And that way, you look really good when the school district says, when you go in and they say, I need to see a copy of your clearances, and to tell you the truth, I don't think any of yours will ask for a copy of clearances, but that doesn't, unfortunately, that doesn't relieve, the people that don't have their FBIs, their Lock Haven's not gonna want you to go out, without it, so unless, I mean, I want to work with that with you if we have a little bit of time, because I can send an email and say, I'm not sure how to handle this. Are we going to just hold them? Is there any way we can contact the school and ask them, say you've got all your other clearances, you've got your number for the FBI that you've completed, it just hasn't come, and it just hasn't been processed yet for some reason, and we think because you had to go just other places besides campus. Because where'd you guys go to get it done?
Penn State.
You had to go to Penn State. And yeah, so, anyway, but my point is, you make yourself look really good when they say, oh, I need to make a copy of these clearances. When the secretary says, I need to make a copy of these clearances, and you say, oh, I already have a copy. Here, you can have these. That kind of stuff makes you look professional, organized, and that. I still remember my dissertation committee for my PhD. Whenever I would have a meeting, and part of this is just me too. Obviously, you probably see that I try to be organized. But whenever I would go in and have a meeting with my dissertation committee about where I was in my writing and research and stuff like that, and they made comments about this several times. They'd go in, and there'd be either 2 of them or 3 of them, whichever ones were coming, and whatever I was going over, I always had copies for them. A lot of times I had it in little binders like this, okay? And they were always like, I love having meetings with you because you have it so organized, for us. And it's like, well, if you turn to page 3, this is what I'm doing here, and they loved it. They loved it. And they always made comments about that. So be organized. Be organized. And like I said here, I give an example that schools started to ask more around the Sandusky time, and a couple of math people were able to produce a copy of their clearances when social studies or English weren't able to, and they had to leave. But again, time heals all wounds, right? And so that's not entirely true, but that's just the saying. maybe the better saying is time makes people forget things, and so schools haven't been nearly as, and unfortunately Central Mountain has not been nearly as stringent, and they're the ones where Jared Sandusky was volunteering. Well, he was an assistant coach there. Victim number 1 was a Central Mountain student. But anyway, the point is that they are probably one of the least secure places as far as that goes. They've gotten a little bit better now. But anyway, take a lunch with you, or buy lunch, or prepare to starve. Whatever. If you're leaving at a certain time, but take a little something or whatever. Again, don't contact your job without it. Now you're free to. So. Good luck and have fun. Remember, you're there to learn everything there is to know that you can about teaching. It's not easy. Don't feel bad if you decide after the experience you don't want to be a teacher. While many years have been spent on one side of the desk, things change when on the other. There's a lot of, and I think I've said this before, understanding teaching
and understanding the chaos that is public schools and that you're there to do what you can do will make it much easier than the attitude that you think everything should be perfect in this world. Okay, it's just not. You know, and I've been thinking about that lately this past week, right, with the never again movement, you know, with violence in schools. And, you know, from my perspective, and again, this is a worldview, philosophical view as well, you know, it's not going to stop. I mean, we do not live in a perfect world, okay? And there are problems, and I know nobody wants to have another school shooting. If you ban all guns and just say, no, I mean, short of not having any guns in the whole country, right? And I'm not sure how that's gonna work. It's not the violence, and that's not going to, you know, stop. And schools, you know, aren't perfect. And I know it sucks, but if you spend your life wishing, or unless you're an advocate for some, you know, certain thing, but if you spend your life thinking that it should be and being mad because it's not perfect, that makes it, you know, a little bit difficult. A couple notes there. I'll be visiting your requirement teachers during the first 2 days. I'll probably stop by. I don't like to stop by the first day because you're just getting to know each other. Probably stop by next Thursday. Just say hi, thanks for hosting. And I'll be out with student teachers anyway. And I may not do it on Thursday because I'll be running around at some schools. Like for instance, I'll be at Central Mountain probably either Monday or Wednesday. I'm probably not gonna, even though it's right here, I probably won't stop by on a Tuesday or Thursday to say hi just because you're there. I'll probably just go to because I'm not there to see you. I'll be there, or I'll be there anyway, so I'll probably just stop up and see. Megan.
You want to see him?
You can contact me on my cell phone during this experience, so you know, keep this thing handy, put it in your cell phone, whatever. If something happens, you're on your way to school and your car breaks, but you're gonna have it all perfect now, right? So we don't have a break here. So it's right. You can get mad because, yeah, of course we're mad when our cars go, right? But it isn't a perfect machine, right? And
It should.
you know, that's why at least after you've had a car for 320,000 miles, you know, I am full. Even though I know I'm gonna be pissed when I'm halfway to Redondo and I'm hightailing it back home on foot in 18 feet of snow, 20 degrees below zero. Oh, I'll be mad. I know, but you know, I'm gonna try to take solace in the fact that it's been a good time.
You like running?
What's that?
You like running?
Yeah, I mean, like, I get along running. And you know what'll happen is like 2 hours before I'll go and just run 10 miles.
Yeah.
Crap! Now I gotta run the second time. Anyway, so I'll stop by and say hi, but you can call me just in case anything would happen, and then I can contact your requirement teacher, if something. And don't use during student teaching. We communicate during or through text and that, but during here, go through all or multiple channels. There's nothing outside of this experience. There's no reason you have to contact me immediately. Like I don't mind getting a text at 11 o'clock at night from a student teacher. When you're student teaching, I don't mind that. If you text me at 11 o'clock at night, outside of this experience, I'm gonna be like, Gary, it can wait until the morning. Send me an email and I'll check in. Anyway, so I will give you a copy of the field experience portfolio, but you do it online in live text. Okay, you'll do it in live text. This is just like a notebook. Okay, this is a great. And I probably should put. Maybe I can remember that for next time. Put some blank sheets of paper here for you to take notes. That way you don't have to. That way you don't have to write notes down or have another notebook out. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to give you this, and again, this is for, kind of jot down notes and that, but at the same time, you'll have this out, and your cooperating teachers know that you have a portfolio and you're looking at certain things, but don't give them the impression, I don't think any of them would get this impression, but don't give them an impression like they're evaluating. You're observing, you'll see in the packet, you're observing many things that happen in the classroom. You're not observing them very often. You're not evaluating them or anything like that. next page is just the evaluation form that they complete on you at the end. Again, some of it's not applicable. Demonstration knowledge of subject matter. Well, you're probably going to help out some in the class. I mean, I hope that I've told the cooperative teachers that we just started like lesson planning, so you're really not ready to teach a full lesson. You could mimic a little bit about what they do, but I told them, I said, get them up to the board and make them go over homework with the students. If you're there for 3 of the same periods and you've seen them go over homework twice, and you're sitting down there, doing some of the problems, you should take the initiative. Hey, I'll go over, some of their homework, with them. Do that. None of your cooperating teachers are teaching any high-level content. You guys, geometry all day,
Yeah.
geometry all day long.
Geometry.
That's that could be painful, except for you'll probably only see 3 classes in there. But Algebra 1, Algebra 2, it's not like anybody's teaching AP Calc. That you're going to be like, well, I'm not sure if I remember how to do this stuff. You'll be able to do the homework. Okay. There might be some problems that will trip you up, but the cooperative teacher will be there to help you. You got to get yourself, some experience. Group work, get up and say, hey, is it okay if I walk around and help out groups? I mean, that's great. You do that, and they will tell me this person took the initiative to. On the back of this, they will write that, and that helps me say, hey, you're doing a good job. Take some initiative. Now, don't jump up and help don't jump up and say, hey, I'm going to take this class over here. Like, no, leave that for me. Okay. But anyway, instructional planning skills, you're not planning, that would probably be an A. Knowledge of the principles of student learning, if you kind of understand, how things go. This is a generic form that we use. Are you adapting, using multiple instructional strategies? But again, most of these are NA for this experience here.
Steve, Central Mountain, do they have a block schedule?
Well, I can't even answer that question in general for a school, because most schools are doing some classes on block schedule and some not. In general, in general, they don't. Like, they're not, the whole school I know is not on block scheduling. The only thing I can say is some schools, because Algebra 1 is so important, will do a block scheduling for Algebra 1, but not other classes. Yeah, so it's not, it's not a dead set thing like when block scheduling became popular in the early 90s, that you just did block scheduling for every class.
Yeah.
Now they've become more creative than just saying block scheduling. So these are 2 things that, and the last page is just a repeat of this that you'll cut out or you'll rip out and sign. But as far as professionalism and confidentiality, just realize you're a guest in the school. Your task is to objectively collect information, assist, maybe teach lessons, activities if they're want you to, and then learn everything you can about teaching mathematics. Your time's limited. It's not your job to pass judgment about the teacher, students, or the school. So you agree to protect the confidentiality of the classroom, respect the professionalism of the teachers. I agree to share the insights maybe here, but not there. So that's something I have you sign. Not this one, but the next one. The next, on the back of that is the dress code information. You're going to, and everybody here looks fine, so the dress code requires professional and conservative attire. Teaching is a conservative place as far as traditional morals and values. Doesn't mean every teacher has good morals and values, but even if you don't as a teacher, you're still expected to, which I always find weird, you're expected to try to instill those in your students. And as far as dress goes too, it's modest dress. Not that you wouldn't be allowed to, but as far as piercings goes and jewelry, understate them, ladies, and Jonathan. Jonathan's not going to wear a hat. He's not going to wear a hat in his school. I'm probably not even going to recognize Jonathan because you're going to wear a tie. And if you guys need ties, let me know.
You can't see me in a tie.
I've got a lot of ties if you need ties. So you guys know you don't go buy a tie. I've got many ties if you need.
Colin went shopping last night.
Oh, did he?
I bought it.
Some of my clothes might fit. Might fit Colin. But anyway, so just some general guidelines. Clean and pressed. You don't have to get an iron out, but if it's all wrinkled. No part of the midriff should be visible, ladies. Okay, and guys too. If your shirt is really short. Bend. Nobody wants to see that. Bend over. Do the bend over test in the mirror and make sure nothing comes out and nothing's seen this way. Let your clothing move freely with you. Don't be stuffy and don't be too tight. Just because you're going to be probably not laying on the floor with your kids, but you will at least be probably getting down to their level. Males wear skirts if you're going to wear a skirt, knee length or below. Nothing so short that it should be a belt.
What?
Well, I've seen skirts that are so short they just look like a belt. That's a joke. Anyway, males, slacks, collared shirts tucked in at the waist. Nothing like this. I would not go into a school looking like this. And when I go into school, it's tucked in and I wear a tie. Dress shirts with ties. Even if your cooperating teacher says, and actually they're all females, so they probably won't say much about the guys there. But even if your cooperating teacher would say, you don't have to wear a tie. We don't all wear ties. Show up in a tie, because one of the things you're trying to do as a younger person is to make sure there's some separation between you and the people who are in high schools at least, and some of the people who are only 3 years younger than you. Okay? Pretty a lot easier to do in middle school. Jeans, sweats, not appropriate. I think that's obvious. Comfortable shoes. I have dress shoes. I don't wear dress shoes in the schools because I'm walking around. They're just not comfortable. So I have my more, I don't even know what you call them. Some people call them tennis shoes, but they're not tennis shoes like these. These are tennis shoes. These are running shoes, right? But more dressy tennis shoes that are comfortable at least. If you want to, you'll be sitting more than walking around. So if you have, but if I go to a wedding or a funeral, obviously I have my extremely uncomfortable dress shoes that I hate. Anyway. Loose-fitting, washable clothing preferred to suits. Don't worse. Avoid cologne or perfume. Okay, you're not there to impress anybody. You don't want students to be like, "Oh man, you smell good." That is not.
So you want us to stink?
It's not a compliment. You smell normal, or you don't stink. That's what normal say. Okay. Hair clean, neatly. Everybody does a good job. I don't even know what your hair looks like, but I'm assuming you have hair under there. No. Okay. Well then, you don't have to clean it, or you don't have to wax it. You don't think you females with long hair, and probably both of you, probably Maddie a little bit more, but if you have long hair, you probably want to somehow put it back, because what you don't want to happen, and neither one of yours probably would have this, but if you had a little bit longer hair, you worry about, I'm leaning down here, and I'm going like this, and where's my hair going? Right in his face, and you don't want that to happen. So that's the reason for that. You're going to all the males' hair, I don't think you have to worry about. And again, jewelry, understated. So, sign this, both sides, so you know, or so I know that you've received it. Pick the removable disc. Yeah.
So, do you know like the girl dress shirts, the big thing is having like shoulders and then like a tiny little circle here on? Are those okay or are those no? I
would say no. I'm not saying that you won't see that from some teachers, but I would not want to be a guest in a school and do that. Yeah. And I know that's the thing that you guys go out and buy when you're buying clothes.
It's like alternative.
I know. But like that kind of a shirt is fine. That's a little dressier than.
It's short though.
I guess I would probably maybe send me a pic, and not that I want pictures.
So that's also selfie.
That sounded weird. Send me a selfie. Send me a selfie of that. No.
I'll let John know.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing it to see if it's a little thing there. But I saw something the other day. Just something on TV or whatever. It was there, but then like it was this much of the shoulder showing before that. I don't know if it's a little hole. Okay. But yeah, that's.
Yeah, I have a shirt that's like long sleeve, and I would consider it like a teacher shirt, but it also has like slits down the arm, but like it's completely covered, and there's just like openings along it, like buttons kind of.
Yeah, that sounds probably okay. I would probably, if you don't have an opportunity to send me, a picture of it, I would not ask somebody under the age of 25 whether they think it's okay. Find an old lady. No. But seriously, find somebody and ask them if they think that is inappropriate for you to wear, as a student teacher in a school. I know that's hard. Guys have it a lot easier in that respect than girls do, because I know what your fashion is, and then you have to go out and buy clothes. And I get that. I mean,
Stupid stuff.
Go to Gap. Gap has awesome
Yeah,
Do you
things.
have a Gap around here?
There's Gap Factory like by Target, in the Target Plaza.
Oh, like up by like Clothing Mall?
So you're saying
Yeah.
we should have a tie?
yeah.
Well,
You get that.
maybe.
No, I got ties.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dress shirts that are dress shirts, but don't have to be.
They have a lot
Yeah,
of
but no, I would wear a tie. I mean, most,
Like I got like.
for the most part, that is the,
practically
standard, for guys.
You forget about what they exist.
Do you want this?
Yes, give me the sign. Sign the last one is designed to just, for you to rip out the others in your
The last
packet.
one.
Yeah, just the very last thing, both sides. It's just a repeat, 222. It's just a repeat of,
I was like 27.
it's a repeat of the previous page. So then, I obviously need to make myself a copy of the portfolio, but that's fine. Here, go ahead, give me that. So if you'll see on your assignments, 222, if you'll see on your assignments in live text, I've put the field experience portfolio. Notice the due date. The due date is March 29th. So that is the Thursday when you come back. It's not the Tuesday. Now, the danger there is that you'll say, oh, wait until Wednesday night to do it. If you do that, you'll be up all day long. This is a good undertaking that is supposed to take you, a month to do. Not a month of solid work, but it's supposed to take you a month to do in spurts. So when you go to create your portfolio, if you go to the live text documents here, when you go to create and the new, it is under projects under Lock Haven University. Okay, not even though it's called a field experience portfolio, it's not a portfolio that's official for the university. It's a project, and it's secondary math field experience portfolio. Okay, when you click on that and create it, you will see, and hold on. I just updated something yesterday, and I'm not really sure why it doesn't way up there. Modified on February 21st, 18, that's yesterday. Let me just see something. I created this. Oh, you know what? What I forgot to do was, I forgot the heading. Let me just actually do that now. I changed the information, I just didn't change the actual heading. So this last thing is,
You got that on recording.
so when you create that, that's where you go to the projects there, but you can ask me, because you'll probably take your notes there, and then near the end of the experience, you will then, you'll then type up the information, and that's fine. I mean, for me, I probably want to type it up kind of as I go, but use this document as your. So. Hold on, sorry, this is just annoying me. I didn't realize how I placed the drawers. Okay, so here's what you do. On the cover, if you'll look, you're just general information there. Again, this just says make sure you're not giving them the impression of that they're being evaluated. But it's also you don't be secretive about this either. They know that you're doing this stuff. So there are 9 things that I want you to specifically look at. Okay, some of them are longer type of things. Some of them are specific. This class period, I am going to watch the students. This class period is a test. I'm going to look ahead at what answers or what questions I'm going to have to answer, and I'm going to specifically focus on, actively observe on what's happening during that test. It's not, okay, they're giving a test, I can't do anything, so I'm just going to go over here and do whatever. Oh, and I didn't say this in the opening things. Put your cell phones away during this experience. Okay, there's no reason to need it. Don't check it. Don't have it out to be tempted, by anything. Stick it in purse somewhere. Put it in your book bag. Put it on silent. Whatever. That again will show professionalism. In the past, what brain teachers have said, I know it was during planning period, and during planning period, if they're not doing anything in there, you check it, you answer a few emails. But I would ask them, say, is it okay if I, get my phone out and check a few emails and stuff like that? They will be doing it too, I'm sure. So, in fact, yeah, I'm sure all yours. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think Charlie will. But yeah, I'm sure they will too. But ask, okay, ask. That they will appreciate asking.
What about laptops?
And yeah, that's fine. Again, certainly. But again, don't give them the impression that you're on Facebook, on emails, things like that. There's no if you want to do that to work on this, yes, but I would not do that just because of the temptation, and also not only your temptation, but what it looks like from other people, like the students. If students see somebody back there with a laptop, they probably will look and say, this person's fooling around. You know what I'm saying? I go in, and if I'm in a block schedule, I have my laptop out because I'm also starting my evaluation form. If I'm only in a 45-minute class, I don't. I just have my notebook that I'm taking notes in. 90 minutes, 100 minutes, that's a long time, and I can get a lot of work done there. And they probably assume I'm in there and I'm doing work. But from your perspective, at least the first couple days, I'd stay out. There's no reason for you to do this on your laptop. Write stuff down. Write stuff down. You want to be professional about it. And the way things are now, people think that. But during planning period, or maybe after the second day, third day, it's like, and you ask, you think it'd be all right if I have my laptop out so I can, complete some of my reflections as I'm seeing what's going on and fill out some of the stuff like that. Probably be okay, but if it isn't, it isn't. So we definitely ask about those things. But you definitely don't have your phone, on. I mean, and I feel bad when I'm doing observations sometimes because I have my phone on my desk on silent, but because of the method of operation that I use while I'm taking my notes with my pen, I'm marking down times, and so I'm always clicking my phone to see what time it is now. So, and I know and clocks are wrong and stuff like that, but I want something that's consistent. So 2:13, this is what's happening at 2:13. And I have to resist the urge to answer an email. My wife texts, and I have to resist those urges too to do so. But anyway, first 3 things are about school culture and resources. So there's some reflection on surveying the classroom, surveying the role of math in the school, and then surveying learning tools. And then now the more teaching and learning aspects, as far as observing goes, and it doesn't look very good on the live text here, a classroom assignment or a test. You're going to observe a classroom assignment or a test specifically. You're going to observe a mathematics lesson. Now, of course, you're going to observe a lot of lessons, but for this one observation, it's, okay, I'm looking at specific things, and I want to know ahead of time that I'm going to observe this lesson and I'm going to answer these questions. One lesson, you're going to just simply observe the students. What are the students doing? That's a really good observation. And then you analyze classroom discourse, so that's a whole how communication happens in the classroom. Classroom equity, and then the last one is standards, just analyzing the use of standards in the classroom. So if you look at the first one, maybe, like surveying the classroom. So what type of things are you expected to observe as far as the classroom goes? Physical environment, take notice, right? It's not just, okay, walk in this classroom, I'm sitting down, I'm doing that. I mean, look around. Because sometimes you don't look around. You know, I've trained myself when I go into classrooms, you know, I'm looking around, I'm seeing, well, what's on their bulletin boards? Do they have a bulletin board? Is there a word wall? Are the standards up someplace? The posters around the room, what kinds of posters are they? You know, how do they, even just the blinds, depending on where their room is it facing the parking lot where there's distractions, or are the blinds shut? Things like that, you know, where's the teacher's desk with respect to the door? Okay, how are the students' desks arranged? A lot of stuff that you don't think about until somebody tells you what you think about. So I asked you to draw a sketch of the arrangement. Now you don't have to draw a sketch nowadays. Take a picture with your cell phone, you know, a couple different angles, whatever, and then you can upload them. Much easier than drawing, unless you like to draw. So, you know, but then you have to draw all little desks. And I want them to be perfect. You know. Anyway, and then reflecting on them. Describe the features of the classroom that support a particular philosophy or strategy of teaching mathematics. Based on their setup in their classroom, you know, what do you think they think is important about teaching math? Is there some group interaction that's easy, you know, to happen with their setup? Are they pushing vocabulary in mathematics? Things like that. And then, are there any features of the classroom that you might see hinder the learning of mathematics? How do you envision your classroom when you become a teacher? Maybe you never thought of that. How am I going to set things up? Second one is surveying the role of mathematics in the school. So you got the classroom, and then this one is in the school. So observations as you enter the school. So this time, again, go and study this portfolio, and even so you're going in there Tuesday, you know, just kind of relax and, you know, do whatever. And then before you go in Thursday, you look and say, okay, today I'm going to do this. I'm specifically, as I'm walking through the school, maybe take care of this one. Oh, I know she's giving a test today, so I'm going to take care of this observation. Know ahead of time, which one are you going to do today? You don't have to do them all. Don't try to do them all one day, because you also want to help out in the classroom, you know, as well. But for one period, for one time, you can observe this kind of stuff. So as you enter the school, around the office and halls, any indication that students are involved in mathematics? Look for students' work and their mathematics artifacts. Is there math club announcements? Is there a problem of the week, you know, somewhere? And then they've been told that you have to complete this portfolio, and they should fully expect that you engage them in some conversation about this. So maybe during planning period, before, after school, lunch, whatever, try to engage your cooperating teacher in discussion about the role of mathematics at the school. Hey, how much is math pushed, you know, here? Do you guys have outside clubs? Do you guys go to competitions? You know, is the principal encouraging students to do well in math? How are the test scores? Things like that. And then a reflection that you can reflect on. Learning tools. Maybe technologies, maybe manipulative, things like that. Give you a little bit of information about it. Kind of a fact-finding mission. Learn the range of the learning tools available. Just a little bit about learning tools. And then some questions. Did you observe the teacher using learning tools for demonstration? Did students use it? What are some general observations regarding students' use of learning tools? And then reflecting, what kind of benefits do you think? Any things that any questions or concerns that you might have about it. So those are the surveying type of questions or observations. The next three are specific observations about something going on, and well, the rest of them are observations about something going on in the classroom, but these next three are, you're going to observe a classroom assignment or a test. Something that's actually, you know, happening for some length of period there. And then the next one is an actual math lesson, and this one is students. Okay. The other three are a little bit more about generalities, like what's the discourse like, stuff like that. So the first one is classroom assignment or test. You're going to describe the test or assignment there. You know, before the actual assignment or test. Watch and listen as the teacher distributes the test or assignment. These are things that you have to learn. Because when you're student teaching, you're going to be doing pretty much what the teacher wants you to do. Okay? Then August comes, and you panic because now you have a job. You shut your door, and you're the only one in the room, and you have to figure out. Oh man, I never thought about how I'm going to organize. You know, kids are going to give me papers. where are they gonna go? Am I gonna have bins here? You know, I gotta pass out a test. Should I read the directions for them? Should I? You know, you have to make these decisions yourself. So, you know, observe this. Watch and listen as the teacher distributes the test or assignment. What'd she say before distributing papers? She say, here's your test. Okay. Does she say something for 30 seconds, distribute them, point them out a couple things, you know, in? Yeah, you probably don't, you don't necessarily think about those things when your teachers are passing out tests, but maybe for you four today for your quiz in, you know, history of math, right? You know, think about what I am going to say before. You can, some of you are like, think about, observe what I'm going to say before. Am I going to summarize what's, you know, going to happen during the test? Am I going to tell you a certain time limit that you have? Am I going to read the directions for you? Am I going to correct a mistake? Oh, in number 14 there's a typo, and I want you to make sure that everybody turn to 14 right now. That way I don't answer it 15,000 times. Or maybe I didn't know there's a typo, and maybe Gary comes up to my desk and says, you know, I don't really understand what you're saying here at 14. I say, because I'm an idiot, and I typed something wrong. And then I stop and write up on the board, number 14 should read this way. Okay. During, what's happening during the test? What's the student, or what's the teacher do when students raise their hands? It's a test, I can help you? No, maybe. If there are no students with raised hands, what's the teacher do during the test? What do? Do you just sit there, answer email? Do you look up every once in a while? Do you walk up and down? Do you keep people on task? Hey, you're not focused. You should be looking at this. You're daydreaming. That's okay. I mean, you can't do that during PSSA, but you can do it during tests. Is that unfair that I walked up to Gary and kept him? Maybe his IEP says I have to focus him, right? But is it unfair that I kept him on task and I totally ignored Brittany? Well, that's not equity. That doesn't mean, equity doesn't mean doing the exact same stuff for everybody. It means giving the people what they need to succeed. Gary needs me to kick him in the butt. Brittany needs me to coddle her. Yeah.
Is that something we can ask them and they can talk to us about as the kids that have IEPs?
Yeah, I mean you can, I would probably, just be careful about it. If they don't offer, much information, then they may not feel comfortable, saying anything. It's not something I'd ask on first day. It's something that I might notice about or wait for them to say. Most likely, they will say something. They'll be describing class. Say, this class has a whole lot of IEPs. Well, they just open it up, and you say, well, what do you have to do? Because they're IEPs. What kinds of? I don't know that I would necessarily say, well, who is it? Who has,
Yeah. I just didn't know if we could be are there anyone in your classes that?
You'll probably know based on conversations.
Okay.
Fairly quickly. That's some reflections there. And then when you observe an actual lesson, so that's a test or assignment, a lesson. Now I ask you, what kind of lesson was it? Was it inquiry based? Were they just working on skills, procedures? How'd they handle it? How were the students actively involved? And then I ask you more pointed things like, what was the communication like during that lesson? What types of questions were asked? How was problem solving integrated into it? When I say problem solving, I mean real problems, not exercises, so I mean real life problems. If there were no problem solving, then you say there was no problem solving involved. It was all just basic exercises, solve 2x plus 5 equals whatever. Word problem associated. How was reasoning and proof? Now, when I say that, I don't mean a formal proof. Reasoning and proof, was something argued? This is why we do this. This makes sense, right? It makes sense that we, little things. Little things when you're teaching. 2x minus 4 equals 7. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. Just do it. Just add 4 to both sides. But if I have a 30-second conversation with my student about why do you think we add 4 to both sides? I'm asking them to reason and prove. Okay, I don't mean deductively prove. I'm asking them to reason and prove why we do that. Reason through why on earth would we do that? Okay? Then I'm asking them to actually reason. Am I making connections, kind of representations? There's quite a few questions about that. When I say observing the students in a class, now you're staring at them. Type of lesson. What were the students doing during the lesson? Were they paying attention? Were they taking notes? Were they talking to each other? Were they, and that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. They can talk in a good way. Were they ignoring the teacher, fooling around? I mean, when I'm observing, I have to observe one of our peers tomorrow, and when I'm the last person I observed, nobody mentioned, but I wrote in the report, I was like, do you even realize, there were like 70 people in class, do you even realize that 70 people in a class, at any one given time, I counted 7 or 8 that were watching videos on, because I was sitting behind, they were watching videos on their either cell phones or laptops, they're texting and stuff like that. I mean, if your students are doing that, you are not engaging them, right? Find a way to engage them. If you're just, lecturing, then anyway, some questions there. And then discourse, questions about pay attention. Now to this lesson here, or maybe this day, I'm going to really pay attention. Hey, what kinds of questions is the teacher asking? Are they really asking low-level questions? Or are they getting them to think? Things like that. Who's talking? Are the students talking to the teacher? Do they feel comfortable raising their hand? Are they talking to each other? Then analyzing equity. Are there students that you feel like are being marginalized? Some questions like that. And then standards, last one. Try to engage your cooperating teacher in, maybe how they've felt or implemented standards into their classroom. How do they feel about them? Maybe engage them in a conversation about PSSAs, keystones, whatever.
So do you want us to be writing in this, and then?
I will never see that book again. That's for you.
Okay.
That's your notebook. Okay, it's your notebook. The only thing I will see is you'll type it up in library, so I can then make comments and things like that. Yes, I will. That is totally for you right there. So we don't have time for anything else. That's fine. Usually I end up hurrying through that, and I don't do a good job of explaining really what we're doing. I think we've got that down pretty well. My advice to you as far as homework goes, if you look at this right here, number 2, examine the field packet so you're familiar with its contents first. Yes, we examined it, but that was also fairly quick. Read through it. And I would probably spend some of the next 5 days, read through it so you know, and then like I said, Tuesday, don't do anything, any specific observations. Enjoy it, have fun, look at, watch the teacher in general, and then before Thursday, okay, what am I going to do? Read one of these and say, I really want to focus in on so on and so forth. So do that, know what's going on there. Work on your field experience portfolio. It's due Thursday morning, so that way that gives us time to talk about any issues in class on Tuesday when you come back. And then that way you can polish anything up. But if you wait until between Tuesday and Thursday to do it, you're not going to remember, because it's a month, right? It's a month-long thing. When you observe something, you say it, write it down. You don't have to type it if you don't want, but write it down. The typing wouldn't take all that long if you just want to do all that one. But I'd probably rather type it at least within a few days after I do it. That way I don't have to look at my notes 3 weeks later and say, crap, what was I trying to say there? Just get it in type forms. And work on your initial research concerning your topic for semester. Remember, all you have to do at this point is do some initial research, try to develop maybe a thesis statement on something, but you don't even at this point have to have that. I just want on March 5th, the week before spring break, so 2 weeks, right? Not next week, but the week after. During that week, you just need to come in, schedule a time, and say, I want to chat for 5 to 10 minutes about the stuff you've read initially and what direction you're thinking of taking. And then I'll work with you like, okay, well, what kind of a thesis statement are we thinking here? And we'll come up with that. A little bit more on thesis statements today in history too. Other than that, enjoy your field experience. And again, if you're missing 225, I will keep up with you guys as far as 225 goes too. I'll probably send you guys emails and say, okay, this is what we did. Watch the video. You know, a lot of it will be, like I said, information stuff and the outside assignments you'll be able to, you know, keep up on. Yeah, you'll just have to send me your first paper next Tuesday.
We have to like email it to you.
Yeah, I can email. I mean, if you have a hard copy, you want to drop it off when you're on campus or whatever, that's fine too. Yeah. If I don't get it until 2 o'clock that afternoon, it's not going to be late for you guys. It's fine. But I don't Wednesday, unless you email me ahead of time and say, I have it, I'm not coming, you know, back to campus for you or whatever, but Wednesday I will, and I'll be like, just put it in my box. But it's fine to email. Okay. Any questions about the field experience though? You good?
Even if their school day doesn't end by 2, we just leave by 2.
Yeah. Oh, the school day doesn't end at 2. It's 2 because that's the block. You're blocked from 8 to 2, you know, here, and so we can't really have you stay there outside because people have 2 training classes and that. Yeah, none of their school days will end at 2. I mean, Williamsport's fairly early, like 2:30 or something. Yeah. And again, if you don't have a, well, everybody except you does, because if your school day end, oh, I mean everybody, you. Yeah, no, you you both already have 2:05. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you want to stay until 2:25 just because the last class and you want to see yet another geometry, you know, feel free to, but you don't have to.
I hate geometry.
Oh, come
Like, you do
on.
this to me.
You know what the little acorn said when he grew up, right? G on the tree. Geometry.
I wasn't.
Maddie, you love it.
Bye.
Yeah. Alright, Steve, I'm texting you tonight.
No, you're not.
Send them your selfies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with your shirts of with holes down the